Oh, must be Thirsty Thursday. Hey, baby, hey. You got your cans? Yeah? We're going to do this? Oh, whatever Superman or God you believe in. Here we go. All right. First, we skim the top. Then we get the gutter. Then we blow. Oh, yeah. Should we crack this bad boy open? Okay, okay. Oh, gotta work on that bar thing. You know what I'm saying? Always blocking my arm. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Listen, listen. Oh, yeah. We did it, fam. We did it. Let's pour this baby up. All right. Weeks can be tough. Weeks can be rough. But don't worry. This one's for you, Dad. And he's off like a dirty shirt to the laundry. To heaven. Always remember 3, 2, 1. That's a knockout.
3, 2, 1, yeah, that's a knockout. They call me kamikaze, put you in heaven's lobby. On gas, no brakes, you can never stop me. Nah, no, you can never stop me. Yeah, cause I'm the power slap king.
Slap some, baby!
Hey, fam. Oh, let's finish pouring this bad boy up, shall we? Oh my gosh. My middle kid calls me Liquid Jesus because I can always pour the perfect pour. Well, 90% of the time. Let's sip it up, fam. Oh, that's good squishy. Oh, that's good squishy. Well, Dad passed away. It happened. And I got to tell you, I don't recommend it. If you have the option, I would pick option B, not have Dad pass away. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to let it all out here because we just want to have a kind of quick service, graveside service, get the closure over with. That's what my mom wants. And frankly, what mom wants, mom gets. Never forget that, fam. Okay, here we go. So, diagnosed June 9th, 2022, and then he passed September 9th. I got the phone call at 4:38 a.m. So, okay, all right. Here we go with the week. We're going to try and get through this. But again, remember, Thirsty Thursday is the selfish project for me to talk about the week that was in my life, right? And the week that was in my life was Dad passing. So let's go through it all. Sunday wasn't a regular day, really. Normal day routine. It's the weekend, so everyone's off, and Dad was doing okay in the morning, and then kind of went throughout the day. And then Sunday night was a little bit different as far as usually when we get there, he's not asleep, he's awake. And this time he was asleep on the other couch across from his bed, sideways, passed out. And so we were just like, oh man, he must have worked hard today, or today must have been an exhausting one, or whatever. Or maybe he's just sleeping. The only point of that is usually he's awake. This time he wasn't. So honestly, no big deal. Didn't think too much about it. Just thought he had a hard day, tired. He's allowed to have that. So we hung out for a minute, Steph and I, to just see if he would wake up. But then it was getting later and later. So I can't remember off the top of my head who was all there. Tim was there. Lucas was there. No, I'm messing it up. I don't remember anything, I swear. So what's funny about this is I literally just texted to get my time frame right, and I still screwed it up. So Sunday was normal, right? Sunday, the only thing that was abnormal, it was just me and Steph. No one was there yet. I'm thinking of the next day. The only thing out of the ordinary was, like I said, he was just sleeping. Nothing too crazy. We just thought he was, had a hard day, exhausted or whatever. Didn't think too much of it. But it was getting later. So we woke him up, sat him up, got him on his feet. He did the little leg shake thing he does until he knows he can put his feet down or whatever. And walked him to the bed, turned him around. He wasn't really talking, just kind of yakking here and there, which is normal. And got him turned around, Sat him on the bed. Okay, it's coming back to me now, fam. It's coming back to me. I've been lying and saying I've been sleeping more than I have. Let's get some caffeine. Man, that's good squishy. All right. Got him on the bed, laid him down, and then you have to kind of twist him so his head's at the front of the bed. So lay him down, twist him around so he's facing the right direction, and there's a sheet underneath him. So you have to lift him on 3 to get him up so he's a bit more comfortable. His brief, as they call it, but it's just a fucking diaper. Wasn't full or anything, so I had to change out the brief. Steph and my mom deserve gold medals when it comes to that, by the way. Well, I mean, we'll get to the really hard gold medal part, but anyway, point is, those are the steps. That's what was happening. Let me get a drink. And shirt was kind of bugging him at his neck, so I just unbuttoned a couple buttons so he could breathe a bit better. And but that's all normal. So then we put the blanket on him. I hung out for a bit, and you know, I always like grab his hand or touch him on the shoulder or like grab his foot or, you know, whatever, just to be like, okay, do you need anything, Dad? You know, and whatever the answer is, the answer was. And he seemed fine. So I just said, okay, I'll see you in the morning. And so Steph usually hangs out while my mom gets ready for bed after I take off. So that's what happened. And then Monday rolled around, and I can't remember if I checked in on him on Monday or not, in the morning anyway. But Steph shot out a text a little after 3 on Monday, just saying, hey, the nurse says he's transitioning, which is code for he could die in 5 minutes, he could die in 5 days. But what essentially, he was to the point where your body, all the nutrients, vitamins, whatever, blah, 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 they know you're about to, they know that your body knows you're also getting close to pass. So it takes all the energy it can, all the nutrients it can to the heart and not much else. So his feet and hands, well, we'll get there. So anyway, he was transitioning, and the message went out that we should have some time for like Moo had to book a flight to get here. So the message was we should have some time to like book flights, but it could be a day, it could be a couple of days, but you just can't predict the future, which totally sucks because you get the text. It's like, hey, he's transitioning. So all the emotions come in, you drive over, excuse me, you drive over, and it's not cool. It's not cool because that was earlier in the day. So I went right over, and he's breathing, he's alive. Like he's still there. And he really is, though. He's still there. I didn't get the sense of, I mean, maybe others did, but at least in that moment, I didn't get the sense of that he had left yet. And so went to see him, hung out for a bit, got the rundown of what I kind of just told you, you know, as far as what the body's doing and why it's acting this way. So he would like not take a breath for what seemed like a while, but then eventually be this, you know, and he'd breathe. And then that's because the body is doing everything it can to keep the heart pumping. So there was moments where the body had to take a break before it could pump again. I'm guessing. I don't know. If there's some doctor out there, smart aleck, whatever, if this technically is wrong, this is my version. So there would be pauses, but then it would come in like kind of big, like louder, and then it'd be normal. He'd breathe normal for a little bit, and then, you know, here and there, the big breath would come, and that was kind of the thing going on. And so I got to visit him after getting that text, and then I shot out a text to the boys and Allie just saying, hey, Grandpa's transitioning, and we need to probably come visit him tonight. So, because we just don't know when it's going to happen. So on Monday, we all, Tim and Lucas went with me, and he was there, and we got to talk to him for a minute, visit with everybody. I think which was really good, even for the boys, because he wasn't quite gone yet, so they still got to see him as you know, I don't know what the right word is here, fam, but at least he was still functioning. I don't know if that's too dark. But anyway, it was kind of obvious how the night was going to go as far as, he's probably not going to talk anymore. The eyes probably aren't going to open anymore, but he's still there. So the boys got to have that moment. And so we left not knowing, Mindy was booking her flight. It might have already been booked by then. Um, so anyway, things were in progress and we kind of knew. And so we left that night and took the boys home and everything. And I was up till, well, first of all, fam, it's not abnormal for this dude to stay up late. So let's be real here. I've had insomnia my whole life. And the best thing for it is sweet, sticky weed. We call it cannabis in the Scott house. Ooh, wee. And speaking of, we can still have fun, right? Even though this is a hard podcast to do. Elixir, baby. Come on, GorillaLifestyle.com. Alley 15. Save some cash and feel better. Let's take a drink. Yeah, so anyway, I was up late. That's not too unusual, but I think how I was up late was unique. Shit, man, I couldn't get certain things out of my head. Like, legit, I could not get things out of my head. And you do this weird emotional roller coaster loop in your brain over and over and over about why do things matter when they don't matter? Why is everyone so mad when it doesn't mean anything? But then it's like they're allowed to have their own emotions. And hey, just because your dad's dying doesn't mean life is going to stop or get better or easier. It's actually, quite frankly, literally the same. And that just fucked with me, man. It's like we always have these opportunities to improve and be better. And it's just like, nah, we'll just go back to regular life. It was just, it was killing me. And we won't go down the afterlife road today. Whoa, not happening. But anyway, I was up late, went to bed about, I don't know. Last time I looked at the watch, it was like 3:03. Watch, what am I talking about? Last time I looked at my phone, it was 3:03. And then I was nodding off, right? So I was like, okay, should get some rest. So I went, got in bed, kind of sat there, and I must have gone to bed pretty fast because I've fallen asleep pretty fast because next thing I know, my phone was ringing and it was 4:38 in the morning. And obviously, it wasn't a shock. It was Steph calling. So you know what happened. The transitioning is complete. But I answer the phone and I'm like, hey. She's like, okay, he's gone. And I thought you'd like to know or come down. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm coming. So I don't even think I put socks on. I just got my shoes on and went down. And you come in and they weren't too emotional, honestly. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. They just, no one was really crying or being too overly emotional. They're just kind of just sitting there. And so I walked over to him, said his name a couple times. Well, I didn't say his name. I said Dad. I didn't say Wally. Hey, Wally, what's up, bro? Yeah, I just went over to him. It was obvious he was out. But give me a minute. So got over there and then was able to, I was just grabbing his leg, like his, I don't know, his shin or whatever, just kind of squeezing it. No response, obviously. Grabbing his hand. No response. Did that a couple times. And so it was obvious he was out. So the nurse comes and I can't remember if Cynthia got there before the nurse or after. But anyway, the nurse comes and Cynthia got there as well. And, they basically just confirmed that he's passed. And then the nurse calls the morgue or the mortuary. I don't know what you say. And they say they're going to be there in about 50 minutes, an hour. So they have to wash him. one last time before the mortuary comes. And this is where Steph really deserves a gold medal because I literally can't describe the emotions of he's washing dad down. Dad's mouth is still open, eyes closed. It's like, I don't know. I didn't get a vibe that it was just a shell. I don't know. Maybe there's some disassociation going on as well, but this is where Steph really deserves a gold medal because the guy was like washing him, and you could tell he was struggling to get him up on his side because it really is, no pun intended, just dead weight. And so she's like, "Hey, you need help?" So she goes over, props him up on his side to help the nurse. So she's like holding his back up, and so we could wash, his back of his shoulders and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, in my brain, I can't describe the emotions that were going on, but like, dude, that happened. That was crazy, man. That was crazy. Yeah. She might be flat chested, but she had big tits in that moment. I'll tell you what. All right. Okay. So they washed dad, and it was all very, very quiet. It wasn't really too emotional yet. I mean, people were, tearing up here and there, but it was, pretty quiet. They got him washed, and then we kind of just sat, stared at the floor, made jokes here and there. The mortuary took longer than they said, which, if you're in the mortuary business, real quick, can I make a recommendation? Be on time, unless there's some tornado or car crash. Be on time. And the second thing is be strong. Be strong so you don't struggle with the body. We'll get there. So anyway, they eventually come, and it was hard, like I said, it was really quiet, jokes here and there, but for the most part, really quiet, just not sad, just quiet. But the mortuary does eventually show up, and they come in with like what you would see in television or movies, just that ambulance type bed that they needed to transfer him to. And they come in, and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry for your loss," whatever, which it's got to be a shitty job, you know? But when they say all that stuff, it's just like, bro, thank you. Yeah. Don't know you. Never going to see you again. Let's handle the precious cargo as precious as we can so we can move on. So they come in, and they line the ambulance bed. I don't know what to call it, fam. Sorry. But they line up their bed next to his, and then they need to transition him from his bed to the gurney. It's called the gurney? Maybe I just nailed it. Anyway, it started to get a little rough right there. I was talking to my little brother Tim about it, and I was like, me personally, I was doing pretty good. There's been a couple moments, there was a moment where my nephew Alex, who I'm pretty sure I'm close with, we'll have to double check that. But when he was transitioning, Alex, he has autism. He's really high functioning, so he can verbalize how he feels, or things like that. It's not just all circles above his head and headphones. People with autism know what I'm talking about, and people with autistic kids know what I'm talking about. So he would hold his hand and say he's going to be okay, or he's going to be fine, grandma. He's going to be fine, grandma. He's just sleeping, grandma. Holding his hand, and then he'd walk away, and then he'd come back and kind of do that, just kind of deal with it. And then he made this Facebook post about how he's really private about his life, and his grandpa was really sick, and he really loved him, and it was time to pray for him so he could, stay alive. And that was the first moment that I kind of I had to go in the backyard. I couldn't do it. It was too much between Alex showing the sweet side of autism and then showing it publicly on social media, along with my dad transition. That was rough. Anyway, cut to the moment where they're transitioning him to the gurney to go to the mortuary. That part, it started to get really rough, because his mouth is open. his eyes are closed, and I don't, they got to get him up over. And this is where you need to be strong. If you work for a mortuary, be strong. Go work out, because they were struggling to lift him, and I'm just like, bitch. How about you guys? I got a great idea. How about you bitches leave? I'll pick the dude up and place him down on the fucking gurney. Like, if you work for a mortuary, be strong, stupid. It was hard because you just see his mouth open. They're rolling him on his side, they're rolling him back, and that part was hard. But they get him on the gurney, and my mom came up and just hugged me from the back, and Cynthia was over by the kitchen area, and Steph was kind of in between in the living room. And watching all that was not. That was very, very hard. That was very hard. But even then, it was okay as expected. But the absolute crushing part was they ask if he was a vet, and we say yes. So they have like a flag for him and stuff. I'm sure it's standard to go to each house with a flag just in case. And so they get a flag and they lay it on top of him. And it was so beyond. It was so beyond. And then this is the part where we might have to take a moment, but we'll do our best. So they put the flag over him, and it's rough, man. Like I said, his mouth was open, his eyes are closed. It's like you try and think he's still there, but he's obviously not, but you don't. It's this weird, like, Hollywood bullshit kind of. I don't know, but it's not. It's very real. And so I don't know what kind of mental gymnastics were going on with everybody else, but in my head, that's what was kind of happening. All these weird thoughts of how to, like, what's, and everyone's crying. And after they put the American flag on him, they say, okay, well, before we put because they had like a velvet cover thing that will cover his whole body as well. And they put that on him over the flag, but they kind of left his chest area up exposed. And then just said, okay, well, we'll give you an opportunity to say your goodbyes before we take him. And that, ooh, buddy, I don't recommend that. So yeah, they say that. So everybody, let's get a drink here, fam. Obviously, everybody's going through it. And for me, it was so. Hold on, fam. You hear that slurping? It's the slurp of the gods. So, yeah, that part was very rough. So they ask if we want to say our final goodbyes or whatever, which it's hard because you don't know what's going on. And then it's like, oh, shit. Did they just say that? Is my dad dead? Were they taking him? What, all this kind of stuff. So, but, you got to do it. So everyone kind of did. I just couldn't take my, hold on. We'll get there. We'll get there. ASMR. So I just couldn't take my eyes off him. It was weird, but went up to him. His chest was exposed, like I said, and so listen, just relax. We're gonna get there, okay? We have to say this, or it's gonna be that much harder in the coming days. So give me a minute. So everyone did their own thing. It was very hard, very emotional, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. It was very weird, just seeing him, what felt like cargo, you know, transition into a gurney, flag, their last cover up. Do you want to say your goodbyes? And so I got to go up to him and I just put my hand on it. Ooh, we'll get there. I put my hand on his chest, just like where his heart, I guess his heart's still there. So where his heart is, his heart didn't disappear, for crying out loud. So I just went up to him, put my hand on his chest where his heart is. I just kind of thumped it, a couple times. Just kind of like, oh, you're not going to wake up, are you? We're still here. Sometimes you need more liquid. So yeah, she's like, oh man, you're not here anymore, are you? So at that point, they just start. The trick is, fam, you got to keep talking. When you pause, that's when they get you. But we're gonna get through it. We're not speaking at the funeral, so this is our moment. This is our 8 Mile. So anyway, when that happened, that was very hard. And then after that, I just stepped back. Everybody's very emotional at this point for sure. And then they start wheeling him off, and that's literally the last time I'm gonna see him. So, I mean, even with the viewing and stuff, my mom wanted like a closed casket, and which I respect. Look, can't judge what she's going through, for crying out loud. So that was the last time. It didn't hit me till yesterday, and then it hit me really hard this morning. I lost my shit this morning. But in my defense, there was a lot of awesomeness going on. We won't get into that. But yeah, it really hit me this morning that, man, that was the last time I saw him, or I'm ever going to see him. So they wheel him out, thumping his chest on the heart. Didn't work. He didn't wake up. So they wheel him out. And if I remember correctly, I think Cynthia and my mom kind of were already going towards the door. And still here for those. Whoop, still here for those listening. But if you're watching, you see what I'm doing, so I don't need to speak to you. So anyway, Cynthia and my mom kind of worked their way towards the door, and then it was really hard. See that? Came prepared. I'm a fucking Boy Scout. Ugh. Almost there, fam. We're gonna get through it. Yeah, almost there. Hang in there. Remember, hang in there. Remember, this is the moment. So hopefully it'll be over by when this is done. Oh. Okay. So that part was horrible because I'm not a touchy guy. I mean, I'm a very loving human being. Most people don't know that when they first meet me, even after years and years of kind of knowing me. Until you actually know me and I've made you think I'm an asshole, then I'll let you in. But either way, I'm not a touchy guy, but I am a loving guy. So it really caught me off guard. Mother, this is terrible. Um, maybe I can distract me for a second and then talk through it. Um, let's do the distraction for a moment, then we'll get through that. I need to get through this, or like I said, this is the selfish project for yours truly, and this is, we got to get through this, or I don't know how long it'll take to like actually recover. Because here's the thing, I liked my dad. Do you know how lucky I am to like my dad? There's so many people that A, don't have dads. B, if they do, they hate them. There's no good relationship there. That was the case with me. So, yeah, like I liked my dad, and now that's not there anymore. And they, my mom was really good about keeping things quiet. Um, I don't know fully why. I think that's just maybe some human nature. I definitely have some of that in me. I don't want the public to know. I'm just going to take care of shit, and just I got it kind of a thing. So in some aspects, who knows how long? Actually, I wrote down his diagnosis date. So it's been and it's been years since he's been diagnosed. And it's just one of those things where it's little by little and all at once. And so my mom has probably been in some type of mourning for sure a year, maybe two, but for sure a year. And then Steph has probably been in some type of mourning for close to a year, for sure, 4 to 5 months for sure, because she's going in there, popping in and out the most, helping take care of him and stuff. And then probably about May or June, I've definitely been in. I mean, you don't know it in the moment, but now that I have hindsight 2020, I kind of think I've been in mourning for that long a little bit, because your dad's gone. But it sucks, dude, because there's moments where he's not fucking gone. There was a time on the couch where he grabbed my mom's hand and looked at me and goes, "This is my wife. This is my wife." And it's just like, yeah, she is your wife. Congratulations. And then there was other days where the nights were horrible, man. They weren't cool at all. And then he would come back and kind of realize, oh, and then he would literally look at you and go, "Thank you." Sometimes teary-eyed, sometimes, funny. My dad was a funny guy. And he would say, "Thank you." So, but you still are looking back probably in a little bit of mourning because he's not totally there. And to see, just to see him fade, you have to take care of him. Again, I didn't even do that much, but they do become like a child, man. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it. So my mom and Cynthia are going towards the door initially when they're wheeling him out. And then something that's never happened, not that I can recall, maybe when I went to Chicago. But I don't even think then, honestly. Anyway, it was rough. Steph just came over and hugged me really hard. He just cried. And I was like, whoa. This, it was all very real in those moments, but I think that moment made it like final. So that was hard, but necessary, of course. So they wheel him away. My sisters and so Steph and Cynthia, my mom, were just out the door watching him wheel away. I couldn't see him. So I walked in the living room, undid the blinds, watched him put him into, it was like a minivan. They're so practical. Even a dead body fits. So put him in the van, and then, he drove away, and everyone came back in the house, and we, it was emotional, but it was done. So the only thing left really was Still here. Still here. Got to get more juice in me. Hold on. So that was it. It was final. Um, you know what's funny though? It was only final in that moment. Like I said, it kind of, well, I don't know if I said it, but it comes in waves. That was a big wave. Um, so they go away. And then honestly, it was just a matter of, Mindy booking a flight so she could get here. And this is all Tuesday. So Monday, we got the word he was transitioning. And Tuesday, early morning is when all this was happening. And it was kind of cool because we were able to lock it all up, so to speak. And it was still kind of dark outside. So there weren't like neighbors lurking and stuff. You know how it is in suburbia. What's going on? I heard he had a drug addiction. So none of that was happening. So that was nice. And honestly, it was kind of nice to just sit in the living room as the sun came up. And then I don't totally remember what happened after we sat down, but eventually we all got up and left. And then it became, really just became checking boxes, honestly. I haven't been through this before. So you're learning as you go. And it just becomes checking the boxes, arranging plots. We didn't have plots, arranging the casket, the vault, when do you want to have a viewing? Do you not? Do you want to have a private viewing in addition to the public viewing? Do you not? Do you want to have a service at a church house? Do you not? Oh, by the way, that'll be $30,000 for all this shit. But just checking boxes. And it's still hard. I'm still not over it. Still not doing too awesome. But I will say, seeing shout out to my Aunt Judy. Judy, I know you're not listening to this because who knows what you're actually doing. But if you do happen to hear this, no, we are very lovingly thankful that you gave my mom those plots. And who knew that both of you would end up on the hill someday together. So it was good, though, to go pick out the plots. We did all that yesterday. So yesterday we went to the mortuary, did all that. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. Point being, it was good to see where he's going to be laid to rest. It was good to figure out the viewing times. We are going to have a private viewing, just really short. So maybe I will get to see him again. Honestly, you want to be dark for a minute? I don't know if I want to. Never mind. If we do the private viewing, I'll definitely be there. That might help. Tiny niece was giving me shit. Tiny niece was like, this is great exposure therapy for you, which was such a true statement. I can't even tell you. It was so true that I finally admitted I stole her cup, but she said it was fine. To be close to all that regarding a subject that I personally hate, I don't like it. Short version is, yes, death scares me, but it's more the mind freak of, what's going on here? Anyway, so to deal with that and the anxiety that came with that, it was like I was having panic attacks like I did when I was from about 5 to 28. 5 years old is about 28. Horrific panic attacks all the time. And a lot of them were revolving around death. And, I'm not a huge pop pill guy. I did pop them for a while, but it was just like, bro, because working out really, we're getting sidetracked. Anyway, those kind of went away. Still had them here and there, but like from 5 years old to about 28, not cool. People have no idea how much was going on internally and how frequently and how intense. But those were coming back starting about the end of May. Pretty heavily. All the time. All the time. What's all the time mean? Well, I'll give you an idea. About every time there is a quiet moment more than a minute. So internally, it's been rough in that regard. So to have this exposure therapy, as Tiny Knees calls it, was actually a pretty true statement. Anyway, I think it was good to be there more often, help take care of him as much as I don't know, how or can or whatever to help with that, to soothe that a little bit. But it didn't get rid of it. Let's be honest, fam. They're definitely still there right now, and they'll go away, and life will go on. And because it does. Like I said, nothing changed. It was still the same. It's just now we have to deal with this while life is happening, right? So anyway, those came back, which is like some actual bullshit. But we picked it all out. Okay, all right, fam. Everything's arranged. Everything's good. Whoever's watching or listening, thanks for letting me go through it. I could literally talk for another hour. Memories, hard times, good times, but that might be another hour. Um, I remember a dad who had moments. He'd get mad. He would get angry, But I also know a dad that could give a shit about basketball, and he got me a basketball hoop and installed it. You know what I mean? I know a dad that was relentless about his clean cars. I mean, relentless. But I also know a dad that when I was learning how to drive and spilled a drink, he laughed. You know what I mean? I remember this one time. Oh, this one's gonna be rough. Fuck you, Satan. There was this time where I don't know how long I was divorced, and I wasn't quite married to Allie yet. And oh no, I think I was just married to Allie. Yes, I was just married to Allie, so everything's really fresh as far as like speaking to transitioning. I'd rather transition to a chick than transition out of another divorce. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, I went over to my ex's house, and I can't even remember what for. And that pissed Allie off so much. Oh my gosh, because she found out I went there because I had lied. I was like, oh no, I just went here or wherever. And like all good women, they find out. So she was livid. She was giving me shit, going off. And as that was happening, I was like, well, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, whatever. And to soothe young Allie, it soothes older Allie as well, but young Allie, to really, distract the emotion, Nielsen's frozen custard, raspberry cookie dough, coming in hot. So I leave because we're not settling this. So I'm just going to leave and get her a gift because I don't know. That's how I deal with it. I don't know what you guys do, the other husbands out there, but like, here's a gift. Please be nice. So anyway, I pick up my dad. I'm like, you want to go get a concrete? That's what they're called. This ice cream place. And he's like, sure. So we go, and he's like, you all right? And I go, oh yeah. And he could tell I wasn't, but I was just like smirking, going, oh yeah, I'm great. We get in line, and the text messages were relentless from both sides, from wifey and from exy, and it was just not cool. So everyone's mad. Everyone's just it wasn't a cool moment. And so we roll up, I order, we get to the drive-through, and I won't tell you what the text messages said from both sides, but they weren't cool. It was not nice. And we roll up to the window, I pay, I look at my phone, and there's just this slew of garbage. And I look at my dad, and I'm just like, ugh. And he just goes, what's up? And I said, and they wonder why we die first. And he laughed. I laughed. We got the custard, got to go home. It all, we all moved on. But it was little moments like that that were cool. He understood my sense of humor, and he understood that you don't have to say a lot in life when you're close to somebody for them to know. And believe it or not, that's kind of rare. Even in relationships, marriage or otherwise, sometimes people don't know. They don't get to know that, puzzle piece of you. But dad definitely did about me. So anyway, moments like that, I could go on forever, but know this. My dad is a good person. He was He rarely thought of himself to his detriment. People took advantage of him all the time. And you can say that's good or bad, or he should have put his foot down or whatever. But I'll tell you what, every person who came to our door, he bought from him. Back in the day, if you're an old head like me, we're talking magazine subscriptions, fam. Remember those door-to-door guys? Anyway, that was him. All right, fam. Well, Dad, I miss you. And like the song says, you can get anything you want. Like the song says, Dad, you can get anything you want. Like the song, oh, we got it. Like the song says, Dad, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. I wish so bad that that was a real place because I would order you up. Ah. So I could order you up and they could bring you out. And we could talk for a few more minutes. All right. That's it. Goodbye.